may be the biggest thing that's ever happened.
Wherever there is injustice, you will find us. Wherever there is suffering, we'll be there. Wherever liberty is threatened, you will find
The three AmiVO's. Dave McRae, Garnet Williams, Mike Pongracz. Separately, they are humble Canadian voiceover superstars. Together, they are the three AmiVO's.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
And now, the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Hit it.
You know what? I am convinced that the reason why we had to do an extended episode 10 and 10B was in honor of our Canadian winter.
It has been extra long.
It has been extra long, so
That's right.
And why can't this episode be extra long?
It's been Ron Jeremy long as far as I'm concerned.
That is a new record for taking the show into the blue right off the bat. Welcome to the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast. It is episode 10B.
Yes.
Exciting. I'm excited to be here today.
And you know what I realized after that? Because we'd been away so long.
Yes.
That we forgot to do one important thing at the beginning of the VOdcast.
What was that?
Shower?
If you go back, if you subscribe or if you go back, the one thing we didn't do that I think we've done in past episodes, we didn't say who we are.
Oh.
I didn't do to my left, AmiVO Dave McRae.
You're right.
In front of me, AmiVO Garnet Williams. I am AmiVO Mike Pongracz. Let's get all that out of the way right now.
we go.
Well, it's
So,
it's
move
done.
on to the important
Move
stuff.
on to the important
It's done. You don't need to do it now.
We had a blast. Episode 10A was a blast.
If you listen, what am I saying?
Of course you listen.
When you
listened.
When you listened and you found out that there was going to be a part 2, I can only imagine it was like Christmas morning.
Exactly.
Uno, dos.
It was like Christmas morning for us, getting a chance to talk to our guest, who is a guest again this episode, Eric Bauza, who's an amazing voice talent, voice actor.
He's just so freaking like the positive energy. Like
Dude's got
There's a
skills.
reason that people noticed, and his career progressed the way it did.
Absolutely.
That's
and,
right.
And as Dave is fond of saying, you got to start with talent. Technique can be learned.
Yeah.
But the talent has to be inherent.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Which I found interesting, though, in the first half of the interview, when he talked about when he was working for John Kay, John Crickfalusi.
The Ren and Stimpy fella.
That was really good, Mike.
I like why he said John Kay. Because it saves it. But when he was interning for John Kay, he had a demo, and he said, my demo at that time was 8 minutes long, and it was all voices.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because, as we do on the show, we always like to sort of peruse the groups, the Twitters, to see what's on the pulse of the voice talents.
We do.
And talking about demos, and we've talked about demos ad nauseum in past shows.
Yes.
And the importance of having focused demos, not putting too
not
many
having
demos,
too many
Updating
demos.
them.
updating them.
Finding your niche,
Yeah.
sticking to it.
Yes.
The one thing that I think we may have touched on, which gets lost in the whole thing sometimes, is that when you do your own demos, which a lot of voice talent do, especially people that have come from a broadcasting background who know their way around mixing. A lot of producers, radio producers, will cut their own demos, their first demos. Garnet, you and I, similar things. But something that gets lost the odd time is having another ear. And the question was posed. Let me find the Facebook here. It was on the VO Pros group, which I believe is a group that is adminned by Terry Daniel.
Mr. Terry.
Oh, yes,
of
Mr. Terry Daniel.
Yes, it's a fun guy in New York. Finally got to meet him, by the way.
Cool.
Finally got to meet Terry and his
Yeah.
lovely fiance.
I'm mad at him right now
Okay, well, don't be because he's in
the Bahamas.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
he's in the Bahamas.
Oh yeah. Okay, we're mad at you, Terry.
All right.
Son of a. Anyway, his group. Let me see. It was a voice talent. Frank something. Frank James Bailey. Okay.
Oh, Frank James
and,
Bailey.
And I saw
Okay.
this, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, he brings up a good question. Sorry, I'm quoting Frank here.
Right.
An interesting question. No matter how long you've been in this business, or how much. No matter how much of a pro, air quotes, you think you are, when you make a new demo, do you hire a coach to help you decide what is right for your new demo, and if not a coach, do you at least get other voice actors' opinions on your demos? A very good question to ask.
That's a very good question.
I went to Frank's.
And that's from Frank
James Bailey.
Frank James
I
Bailey.
went to he does a lot of videos. I found this out. He does a lot of videos, and he's got a lot of video demos.
Okay.
Which is interesting. I mean, because it kind of goes against what we've talked about.
What does he do on camera?
No. He has a lot of video demos, like audio demos that he's made into videos.
Oh, I see.
Which is something I want to talk about in a future episode, which is a neat way to sort of promote your demos. But Frank brings up a good question. Do you get somebody else to listen? And I would say absolutely.
Absolutely.
I have. I haven't had a coach that has helped me with my demo. As Mike said, we both have produced our own demos. But once I do that, I have sent it to people like you and you. I didn't point to the same person twice in a row there. I actually gestured towards
Theater
Mike
of the mind.
and Dave.
I don't
and
recall
Garnet pointed to Mike as he said that.
And I've
Then
asked,
he
like, hey,
pointed to Dave.
Dave
Sorry,
stood up
this is the
and
described
left the room
video.
in a rage.
This is described video. Described audio. That's it. I think we found a new niche.
We have
described audio.
described.
Okay, continue.
Described audio. That is fantastic.
Garnet
So
chuckles
I was
as he
gonna say,
raises his fist.
Mike says,
Dave
Garnet
stands
chuckles
up.
as he raises his fist.
Sorry.
So as I was
Throws
saying,
up.
I would send it to some of my peers
Yeah.
and get their thoughts. People who I respect, not necessarily a coach or an agent or somebody like that. But just some of my peers, if I like their videos and you sometimes need, especially when you're producing it yourself, you need that.
It's a separation. You need an objective ear.
That's what I was going to say. An objective ear regarding like maybe the pacing of the way you've designed the demo, or maybe the length, or maybe your performance. So I have done that. I think it's definitely a good idea.
And I mean, if you do want to look into getting a coach to listen to your demos, I mean, if you're at a point in your career, first of all, if you haven't got a demo and you're new to the business, please don't just go out and make a demo.
No, don't do that.
That's save yourself the time, pain, and aggravation, and the money. But if you're a talent that maybe has a demo that you want to refresh, or you want to spice up, if you want to swap some stuff out, always a great idea to bounce it off another person.
When you are first beginning in the industry, or maybe you haven't done a lot of commercials, you haven't done a lot of them, maybe you don't have a lot of experience, but you can. I mean, you can do them, but you don't have a lot of experience with them. Chances are your commercial demo will be things that are made up. I mean, to sound
and there are,
real.
There
right?
are a lot of there are a lot of coaches that do that get scripts.
Right. So the thing that is something to think about is not just how does this sound in terms of order or my voice, but what's the production quality like?
Yeah.
If it's real work, the production quality is going to be fine. It's just a matter of maybe it's not in the right order, or maybe it's not this, right? Because it's a professional ad, so it was mixed and
I've heard some.
But if
demos
it's
out there
not,
that the levels are all over the place.
Yeah.
The processing is screwed. It's just,
and that's something
sounds
right,
terrible.
exactly.
That's something when you hear demos that are done by new voice talent who maybe haven't gone to a demo a production house, or are doing it on their own, or have a small amount of production background. You can tell, because if everything sounds like you're just changing the music beds, it sticks out.
Yeah.
So
it does.
But those are things that another ear can sort of lend.
Well, and even
lend to
too,
it.
I mean there's a lot of bad demos out there.
There are, and I mean, there are ways, obviously, to get around that. And the main one being just step away from your work and trust.
Get somebody else
Not
to look at
everybody-
it objectively.
Yeah,
but somebody you can trust.
Well, this is something coming from radio. I mean, anybody that's ever worked in radio that's been on the air has had to do an air check.
Yes.
Which is where the boss will take your show.
The program director just rips you a new one.
Yeah, and it's uncomfortable. And I think there are some talent that may, if they're new to the business, feel a little uncomfortable because you don't want to be criticized, right? But sometimes that is the best thing you can get.
Maybe we should start something and call it Demo Check.
Oh.
Maybe you shouldn't have said that on the air so that
Curse
nobody
you.
can steal it.
Damn it! Hey, You heard it here
Yes,
first.
stamped at Noah Racy's. Did I just say?
That's legal.
Two more things on the whole demo thing. One, somebody was talking about having fake scripts versus real material.
Yeah.
Right.
And at some point, you will have not necessarily fake scripts or fake spots.
Yeah.
You didn't do a Ford spot. But there's a train of thought that you should have some legitimate quality clients on your demo.
That's right.
Some national brands.
Some national brands, right. So if you haven't done a national target ad,
Yes.
mocking one up, as long as it sounds like it could be a real ad.
Yeah.
Don't just grab a music bed, steal the slogan, and slap it together and think that's going to
I just wanted to touch on that one last thing, if I could.
Yeah.
Here's one of the biggest problems with taking a script to an ad that already exists.
Mm-hmm.
If it existed 25 years ago, maybe that's not a big deal. But chances are, if it existed 25 years ago, it's not current enough to be used now anyway. But the big problem is that using scripts from ads that are current, if you didn't do it, then your demo could be heard by somebody who picks that up and says, well, wait a minute, I know this ad, but it's not this person. And then your illusion is defeated. Because your demo is supposed to create the illusion that these are real spots that you have done. And if they're mixed properly, if they're written properly, if they're mastered properly, I shouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, the ear
Whether
does
that's
not
a real,
lie.
Right. But if it's an ad where I'm like, wait a minute, that KFC ad played last year and I know it wasn't this person, then it's hard for me to continue
There's so many
because the
different-
illusion's been broken.
And the things, there are so many schools of thoughts, and you ask one casting director or you ask one agent that same question, they'll give you different answers.
I guess
But
so.
the bottom line being
It's
that
my opinion.
your demo is your
Yeah.
calling card.
Absolutely.
Don't just slap something together and throw it up because you think, if I have all these demos out there, something's going to stick to the wall.
That's right.
Put your best stuff forward, because if you put your best stuff forward and a casting director or an agent hears and thinks, oh, this is great, and then you've got another demo there that sucks big wang. I figured if I'm going to use the old colloquial.
Was that another Ron Jeremy reference?
Ron Jeremy,
Big Wang.
RJ Wang.
It's the extended episode.
If that's going to suck some RJ Wang.
If it's going to suck, your great demo won't mean anything, because
It won't.
all of a sudden you've soiled it.
You've broken the illusion.
So make sure it's the best stuff forward. But anyway, thank you to Frank. Good
Frank
question.
James Bailey?
Good stuff.
Maybe we should call him FJB.
We'll call him FJB because
FJB.
FJB.
Fujib.
Fujiba. No. But anyway, thank you for that. Back to the business at hand. A guy who had an 8-minute demo that he dropped on John Kay's desk when he was working as an
look at
intern.
him now.
Look at him now. Part 2 of our awesome interview with the extremely talented Eric Bauza, voice actor in LA, the voice of Marvin Martian now.
Hey.
Hello, iconic.
Come on.
Bucket list. The second part of our interview on this, the extended edition, episode 10B of the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast continues right after this AmiVO's Iceberg Tip.
The 3 AmiVO's.
Warning. We'll be right back.
Changing the voiceover industry 1 toque at a time.
We'll take a little break, but we'll be back in a while, so don't nobody go nowhere.
And now, it's time for another 3 AmiVO's fun fact.
Hey folks, AmiVO Dave here. So get this, this could be a crazy fact as well as a fun fact. So AmiVO Mike and I and Garnet have all had the same agent since 2005, right? I mean, that's kind of creepy and crazy all on its own. But get this, AmiVO Mike and I also have the same dog. Well, not really the same dog. I mean, he has a golden lab and I have a golden retriever, but they're both named Indy after Indiana Jones. And get this, Mike and I didn't even know each other until about the end of 2008. I mean, we kind of heard the name, but we didn't meet until the end of 2008. So what are the odds that 2 voice actors in the same city would have the same agent for the same amount of time and also have dogs from the Golden family, both named Indy after Indiana Jones? It's crazy. I mean, what is the world coming to? It's insane. It's too bad that last Indiana Jones wasn't that great. I mean, I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan, but what happened? Oh, George.
And now, the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
Everyone ready?
You've mentioned all these cool jobs that you got when you first went out there, El Tigre and all these kind of smaller companies, but, a wealth of cool people and a lot of knowledge to be gained from working with them.
Yeah.
When you make the jump to something iconic, like Marvin the Martian on the Looney Tunes show. How the hell do you deal with that? Like that you are now doing this?
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I loved the original run of Looney Tunes for sure. Of course, I caught it in rerun in the early 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And there was still it still had something going for itself even then, because they were using these characters to do those Michael Jordan Nike Air commercials, which were my favorite commercials as a kid. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool, friggin'. And Marvin the Martian was the guy back then. And the funny thing is about Marvin, much like Pete Puma only had one cartoon in the entire run of the Looney Tunes. Marvin, I think, only had 5 or 6, and they were.
Is that it? Just 5 or 6?
Yeah, literally.
But you grow up seeing them so often.
I guess you
over
think
the
you're
last
seeing
30
like
years.
100 of them.
It was the same with what was the other one? The Goofy Gophers only had like a handful.
Yeah.
Well, the Bear family,
the 3
Mom and
bears.
Pa.
I remember the Bear family. Yeah, I remember that. But I thought Marvin would have had.
But it's just through repetition.
Just 5, eh?
Well, because at that point, Looney Tunes ran on Global like every Saturday morning,
that's true.
ad nauseum.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man, that and Inspector Gadget.
Yes. It was that block between like 6:30 and 8 in the morning, where you got Hercules and Rocket Robin Hood
Fables
on
of
City.
the Green Forest.
Well, Fables was on
But
TVO.
that was at night. Though.
Oh yeah, that was at 6:30 at night. The fact that I can remember the times when this crap is on, that's depressing.
Followed by an all new Today Special.
I was watching that the other day.
Will Jody and Sam ever get out of the mall? It's Jeff and Muffy. Jeff and Muffy
live
there.
This is so inside
I know.
for us.
Now here's something. I need
to
to ask Eric a question, because this is something that has totally just baffled my mind for decades now. Is going back to today's special, Jeff the mannequin could not go outside. If he went outside, he would become a mannequin forever. But yet he could go up to the rooftop and sing.
Oh, see, there's a hole. There's a plot
even
hole.
when I was 5.
You figured that out?
I figured it out. What the hell is that all about?
It's all about hocus pocus alamagokus.
There you go.
So how did you get? How did Marvin Martian come about? Like, how did you get the call?
So I had another fellow Canadian. She's very talented. Her name is Jessica Barutsky, and you'll definitely look her up. And another Ottawa native, another friend that I made. She was given the task to redesign the Looney Tunes characters to make them a bit more streamlined and more modern. And I thought she did a hell of a job, because it's one of those things where they could have gone the route of just making it look like the old way, but they chose to go a little bit more like Hanna-Barbera, thick lines, and I thought it worked pretty good. It was definitely better than they had the Lunatics, which was like the weird futuristic. I don't even know what they were.
What a great name.
They were
what a
thinking.
Great name.
It did what it did, that show, but it was just one of those things that was so far removed for me. And I was like, I don't know. But this version of Looney Tunes I thought was a decent experiment as well, and it went on for a little bit, but definitely I don't think it was a huge success, because I think they're doing what Disney recently
with the Mickey Mouse.
Yes, those are awesome. And my buddies Callie Fontecchio and Tara Billinger also did designs on those, and
really,
I think they're going to try to follow suit with something a bit more, short form. They're bringing Bugs back, but on Looney Tunes Show they tried to do like a 22-minute sitcom format, and Jessica was working on it. When they first cast the show, I had a call to go in to read for a ton of characters.
Right.
And, Bugs, Daffy, Tweety. At one point, I was very much considered for Speedy Gonzalez.
What?
Marvin wasn't oddly enough, Marvin wasn't in it a lot, much like he wasn't in it a lot in the original run. But they kind of just asked me if I could do a Marvin. And I kind of got pulled aside to try out for it, just me, and I got it. I ended up getting it. But yeah, I mean, it's any voice actor's dream to like audition for. I mean, everyone auditioned for Bugs. Everyone auditioned for Daffy.
Sure.
And oddly enough, Daffy for me was one of those voices that I didn't think I could. I never.
You know, everyone wants to do a Bugs Bunny, right? Everyone has that nasally New York accent.
Right.
And, you know, everyone tried, and
The guy that ended up getting the lion's share of the voices was Jeff Bergman, and he was pretty much one of the first guys to ever do. Actually, yeah, a Mel Blanc voice right after Mr. Mel Blanc passed away. He was
Okay.
he did Mr. Space League and George Jetson for the Jetsons movie.
Oh, cool.
When the two George Hanlon and Mel Blanc passed away in '89, he was recruited to finish the movie for those guys.
Wow.
And he came back to do Bugs, Daffy, but yeah, Daffy was one of those ones where I was like, I don't think I could do a Daffy.
But, you know, you have to do it basically like my Richard Dreyfuss with a lift.
Very good. That's very good. That's
Listen,
very
pal,
good.
there's not enough room for us in this podcast.
Brilliant.
That's good. That's excellent.
And what's amazing, and I think you must get this a lot. Well, John DiMaggio said the same thing. I can't believe these voices come out of this body and this. But I mean, like just the fact that you can flip into that now. Is that something that you've always, based on your bio, you've always been a character like that? I mean, you've always, you're that kind of a person. Does this stuff, is it just easily for you to turn on, turn off, or did you have to sort of work at, when the audition call came in, okay, let's watch back.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely like, I think now more than ever, I'll probably just like study stuff like that, especially something like Bugs, where the placement of the voice is so difficult, because no one does the screaming Bugs, which is like where he goes, "Ooh, I'm dying!" Like that stuff.
Yes.
It's not even Bugs; it's more just Mel.
Yes.
And then he gets back here, Doc,
Like I've just been watching like a lot of that lately for some reason.
It's like studying game tapes, is what it is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing the voice match for Paul Giamatti in Turbo.
That's right. We were talking
Turbo
about before.
Fast. Yeah. That's just like like another one of those things where I was such a huge fan of the Private Parts movie, the Howard Stern movie.
WNBC.
Like, hey, Robin, look, this guy's trying to like teach me how to say NBC. It's very bizarre, Robin. I don't even understand it. Howard, you're gonna ruin the sanctity of my home, Howard.
That's brilliant. Yeah, again,
It's great.
What's
It's
awesome
great.
is when, obviously in what we do, we're here for a reason, but when you hear somebody who does this and just, like this is, you can't go and work a day job somewhere else. You can't be in a cubicle. Sorry. You're not allowed to.
No.
Actually, I got to go back to my job here at Krispy Kreme Donuts. I got to cover a swing shift.
A swing shift.
You know what's funny though, and
Krispy Kreme
I don't know, but your regular voice, you have this sort of, and please don't be offended by this, you have a bit of a Chris Hardwick to you.
Oh man, Chris Hardwick actually did a voice for another weird like slice of the Bauza pie. Is this world of Channel 101? Channel101.com is a website and a whole community of filmmakers and writers and actors that for over 10 years now has been created and led by Dan Harmon and Rob Schraub. And they're two buddies who, again, I literally just worked with them about an hour or two ago. At one point in their lives, they were not getting any work here in Hollywood, and they were not getting any consideration to do anything. And they said, you know what, screw it. We're just going to make these dumb little films just for us. And every month, we're going to go to that Thai food restaurant on Sunset Boulevard, and we're just going to watch them and laugh, and just for us. And 10 years later, it's this monthly screening now that filmmakers, for free, they make these 5-minute shorts. 10 of them get screened, and only 5 of them come back to continue a story arc next month based on vote.
Wow.
And Channel 101 has spawned such careers and people as The Lonely Island, which is Andy Samberg, Yorma, and Sarah Silverman has done stuff for Channel 101. Jack Black has done stuff for Channel 101, and it's basically where they came from. That was their thing, and I've done voices for like that show Community that's on TV now.
Yeah,
Dan Harmon created it. There's a character on there named Abed, and that's actually based off of a friend of mine, Abed Gaith, who is like the inspiration for this. It's like saying that there's the real life Kramer out there,
Oh, that's so
that's
cool.
amazing.
That's
so
awesome.
it's like this crazy community, and I got introduced to it by a guy, Mike Chillian, who I swear to God, you have to look it up. And it's kind of topical now, unfortunately. He made a cartoon starring the voices of Gwar for Funny or Die, and unfortunately the lead singer recently passed away.
Yesterday.
A couple days ago, wasn't it?
I thought it was yesterday or something. Yeah.
Crazy. But the first time, and this is where it all comes back to Chris Hardwick, we had Chris Hardwick do a voice for a cartoon we were making, and we went for about 2-3 episodes, but shooting something live action that's only 5 minutes for Channel 101 is way easier than animating something, because they also accept animated submissions.
Right.
So if you guys go on YouTube after this is done or whenever, there's a short called McBusters, where we incorporated the McDonald's Land characters in the Ghostbuster world.
Nice.
So, I mean, Grimace has the voice of, Louis Tully, and I was doing the voice of Hamburglar, and we had Chris Hardwick come on, and he was doing the voice of Morgan Spurlock from Super Size Me. So Morgan Spurlock comes in as kind of like a Walter Peck kind of character, and he tries to shut down the McBusters because their food
awesome.
is. It's just the craziest thing, and it's the biggest. It's the biggest venue for satire. So check out channel101.com. Another short you should check out where I actually appear live action in is called Toon Wolf. And that is basically where this cartoonist, every time he draws this cartoon wolf, he turns into it. So we kind of made a Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of cartoon. And
Nice.
And we actually got some people that do cartoon voices in it as live action people. So
See, you make living in LA sound so much fun.
I know.
Which is, I mean, obviously, you guys, you've worked hard.
I feel depressed.
Well, no, but
I feel,
for people that are outside the bubble.
I didn't want this. I didn't want this.
Dave, come on.
I feel
Guys,
Turn that
now.
frown upside down.
guys, I want you to know, you guys are always welcome to come hang out and visit anytime you're here. You guys
there you
can
go.
crash on my couch, whatever you
God.
want.
That is just a sweet
Listen,
guy right there.
There
Well,
you go.
and
you know
if-
what? My frown has been turned upside down.
Now,
You have that now in at least audio recording.
yeah, that's
so-
right. It's documented.
It
I
is.
was going to say, do you have a studio set up in your own house, or no?
It's a microphone in my closet.
Oh no. Well,
Okay.
Hey, that works.
That's what a lot of voice actors have.
Because
Yeah.
I'm curious though, because I know now it seems like for a lot of voice actors having a home setup, regardless of what you do. I know being in LA, you've got access to everybody in their mother's studio. But I was curious, do you ever do stuff out of your house? Are you ever asked to do stuff out of your house, or is that strictly just if I've got an audition, I gotta bang off and I want to go
that's a
drive
great
downtown
question.
type thing?
That's the thing, man. It's like if you guys are reading for stuff, I'd imagine like when I first started with the agency, of course you got to build the rapport and you got to show them that you care and you got to go in, and thank God, after time they trusted me enough just to record at home, because if you are reading for that Carl's Jr. commercial that is only like 10 seconds long, the downside about living in this city is the amount of traffic that you have to deal with. It's just anywhere, and it's always usually they'll ask you to come in at a time where in the middle of the day, which is like the biggest day killer, you're kind of like sitting in traffic for like almost an hour, half an hour one way, half an hour the other way, where it's like I could just literally go to the closet, knock it out,
and send it in.
Simple microphone, simple recording device, and send it in. The same.
What are you using in your little home studio closet?
Because I was shooting like a lot of on-camera stuff. Again, using my Joey Jeremiah training of
Attaboy.
Canadian school. I actually purchased one of those Zoom boxes. It's kind of like it's a device that you could plug almost any microphone or any boom mic into and get audio. So I was using Pro Tools for a while with the M box just on my Mac, and then I bought the Zoom box and actually thought it was kind of just easier. Yeah. Kind of just,
Well, I mean, you're not necessarily recording stuff that's going, like, being put to tape or being put to image, so you don't necessarily need, like, anything you do, you're going to have to go into a studio anyway, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's just for auditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And anyone that, like, if someone asks me to do, like, a web cartoon or something, or, just something simple as a favor, I'll just hop in there and...
So you're not like David Kay with the immense studio, which George Whittam is always over there having to fix David's internet or fix the mic. So
I won't even like. It's so crazy.
He's not even going there.
That guy goes, "Hey, Bauza, do you wanna come to the country club with me and watch me play squash?"
I was like, wait, you invited me just to watch you play squash?
Well,
like, yeah.
That's a privilege.
Just to watch him play squash. That's it. That's it. It's a privilege.
Play with me,
See, David Kay, he strikes me as like he will ground you whenever you feel like you've reached the top. By the way, I'm going to play some golf later on with Paulson. Just wondering if you want to come and carry my bag for 9 holes. Just 9. Just 9.
Bauza, you have to try some of this kombucha tea. I actually scaled the Himalayas myself.
He's Peterman. Peterman.
Oh my God, you're right.
David Kay is the most interesting voiceover man in the world, I think. The guy, he's one of the sweetest, nicest guys you'll ever meet. But when you see his fancy house, his fancy car, the booth, you're just like, this guy is like Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And then he literally puts on the Batman mask and drives around his neighborhood.
Wow. So now as we sort of, we've taken so much of your, this is probably, and this is one of the best interviews we've had, the most fun.
Oh yeah,
it is.
Because you're essentially us, but doing far better,
younger and way more talented.
But you're in the same wheelhouse. I mean, you've come up in a very similar way than at least the three of us in the room have, but you've managed to sort of navigate your way, and I've heard it said before, luck is a big part of it, but luck is only good if you've got the chops and the talent to back it up when the opportunity arises.
Absolutely.
Let's remember one thing, gentlemen. I am on your show, not.
Wow.
This is your show.
Oh. That's it.
That frown is now implanted.
Is now
down. It's now down again.
This is your show, and I feel like that's awesome, and that you guys have manifest your passion into something that is real. Like you've taken what you love and made it into your own thing, and I think that is something that you should never forget. And I'm like honored to be here and to share stories with you guys. And
it's great.
But it's cool because I mean, we love doing it because most people don't get what we do. And this gives us an opportunity to sit in a room.
I mean,
like my wife doesn't understand.
My wife hates me talking about work.
No,
so.
and that just was it. I mean, we all used to sort of talk to each other, about the industry and about our auditions and about the gigs.
Well, it's because we all run in the same session.
That's exactly it. So we came up with this idea to do this podcast about a year ago or so, I guess, and so far it's been it's
fun because
it's fun. Yeah, it is. It's fun because as you know, Eric, the VO industry is so completely unappreciated, misunderstood, unrecognized in a lot of respects. And
I think nowadays people are warming up to that idea, but I also feel like they still don't
Oh, they don't
still
get
like
it.
the general population
absolutely not.
still does.
So you do
Absolutely not.
voices? So what kind of? So that's what you get paid for that? I mean,
I
Yes.
told a girl at my wife's Christmas party. She said, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm a voice actor." She said, "I don't understand."
you never will.
Never. Never.
Blood started to come out of her ears.
That's a thing.
So what's on the schedule right now? You've got a new show that you're working on currently, or is
let's Breadwinners
that you can talk about. Yeah, I was gonna say Breadwinner. Can you talk about stuff because you guys are the kings of NDAs? It seems.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just a tiny blip on the radar. So even if I told you like the craziest thing that I'm working on now, no one would. No one pays attention. I just feel like
come on.
But I guess to be on the safe side, anything that's currently in production that's even on TV now is.
I'm doing the voice of Badoosh on Breadwinners, which I heard actually is now on YTV.
Ooh, it's a chorus property.
It is.
Very good.
Oh.
It's a new cartoon from Nickelodeon, and it's the craziest thing. Never underestimate the power of social media. I got asked to do a voice for this guy's short he was just going to, not for profit. He was like, I'm just going to put it in this New York Film Festival, me and my buddies do every year.
Yeah.
And it was called Breadwinners, the story of these two ducks that deliver bread to other ducks. And I was like, okay, just please don't slit my throat when I come over to your house and record this thing. And it turns out he was just like this normal dude from New York. And we actually had mutual friends that worked at Warner Brothers. And, he made the cartoon like with 2-3 other dudes, and that was it. I never heard from him.
Wow.
And then it turns around and gets picked up to be a series on Nickelodeon. It's like the craziest thing. And doing Belly Bag on Uncle Grandpa.
See, I was hoping you were going to bring that up. Okay, in my household, I have a 9-year-old son who just recently discovered Uncle Grandpa. And I told him,
I'm very sorry about that.
oh no, this is a good thing. One of my favorite cartoons now that he's watching. Got anything, no offense to my wife is a Disney, I married a Disney family. I'm tired of any sort of Jessie and Wizards of Waverly Place, so I'll take anything now that my son's into. But Uncle Grandpa, when I told him that, yeah, tonight we're talking the guy does belly bag. And he's like, really? He's like, where is he? I'm like, he's in LA. Really? And it was just that blank. I'm like, yes, this is the cool part of my job that you can actually like now. You don't like anything else that Dad does, but this is cool. We have a connection now.
I will let me know like when we're done. Send me your address and I'll draw him some stuff. Like I'll draw him some pictures.
Dude, this guy,
I love it.
you
I
are
love
Canadian. You are Canadian. That
Yeah, let me know.
seriously
That's fantastic.
So you're working on that. Are you still doing a little bit of stand up or no?
Oh no, I pretty much it's kind of I'll go out and support and go watch, but it's hard for me to like get my mind into it, and I feel like maybe sometime down the road if I ever have that kind of desire again to kind of like I want to write some new stuff, then maybe I will. But right now, I mean, voiceover. I just did ADR on new episodes of Black Dynamite that are coming out for Adult Swim.
Wow.
Turbo, which is the Netflix show. Ninja Turtles, I got the recurring there as Tiger Claw, a very calculated Asian voice. Again, another Asian voice.
You have to understand, AmiVO Garnet, that's his wheelhouse. I would say.
Everybody, every time an Asian character talks in this city, it is me.
Do you feel typecast now?
Man, whatever puts gas in the tank.
There you go.
That's the healthy attitude.
How slanted do you want my eyes this week? I'll tell you a funny story. I was doing the voice of Dr. Benton Quest for Scooby-Doo, and the whole time
I actually had to do scratch voice dialogue for James Hong because James Hong could not make it that day, so that's what I had to do. But the whole time I'm scratch dialoguing for James Hong, George Takei was standing right next to me.
That's where you drop the mic.
That's where you drop. We leave at a high note. Right? That's just
Wow. Yeah, Takei or Takai, I don't know. But my ending story for you, I don't want to take up all your time. Is the whole time I'm doing scratch dialogue as James Hong, George Takei is standing right next to me for 4 hours, doing his, he was the bad guy in the episode. And on break, he goes, Mr. Bauza, you do a better Jimmy Hung than Jimmy Hung. He calls him Jimmy Hung. I'm like, well, that's very nice of you to say. And he goes, Mr. Bauza, you are eye and oral candy.
Not only do you get the compliment, you get hit on. That's brilliant.
That's fantastic.
I said spell oral. No, wait, don't I was like, don't spell oral. I don't want to. I don't want to ruin the magic.
That brilliant.
I was going to ask. You mentioned you're done with stand-up, but how I actually saw you for the first time in unanimated form was when Paulson, Mr. Rob Paulson, had you on the Talkin' Tunes.
Oh yes,
down at live in theater there, and you handled yourself very very naturally in a live setting like that. So I don't know yet. Are you doing like the convention circuit?
Funny you mentioned. I was at a voice actor's birthday party, and everyone was talking to me about that, and I'm like, I don't know. Actually, Billy West brought it up to me too. He's basically was like, do you have they have convention agents now?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And I get it, because it's like every year leading up to Comic-Con, there are so many other conventions that happen all. I mean, I used to go. I went to TFCon which is held in it's not Niagara Falls. It's definitely in Ontario.
Mississauga.
Yeah.
I've been to it.
I've been to it once, and it was awesome. And that was when I was doing when G.I. Joe had just come out. I did G.I. Joe Resolute. I was Destro, Tunnel Rat, and Storm Shadow.
Storm Shadow, what a see again typecast here. Seriously,
pretty much 2 out of 3 characters are Asian in that. And it was a lot of fun. And anytime I've ever done Comic-Con, I've always just been invited to do it. And I just feel like at my point in my career, I kind of haven't reached that. Okay, we have to go line up and see this guy kind of thing. I think it works for Rob Paulson and Billy West and DiMaggio and Phil Lamar. They've had such long careers.
So you don't think the fans want it yet, or because I think you're selling yourself short.
I don't know, and I think Billy West said the same thing. He's like, he did the voice of Marvin the Martian. Like, a lot of people love that character, and they would probably like to meet you. And I was like, well, maybe, but. The other day, I just got a text from Dana Snyder, who is the voice of Master Shake on Aqua Teen Hunger Force. He's the
Dana Snyder talks like this.
He's got that voice that is just his normal voice, but it is frigging hilarious. Like, you could just piss yourself listening to this guy read the phone book. And he asked me he goes, yeah, I'm doing this convention in Miami on the 4th of July, and I just maybe it's time to start going out there and meeting folks and spending time with the fans, because I guess I've done enough stuff in the last couple of years that people kind of liked. So, anytime I was at the Annie Awards, the Animation Awards, and I was up for one of those, and when I got there, and much like the podcast when I did Rob Paulson, there were actual people, fans there with printouts of characters that I've done voices for. And I'm like, well, let's make this paper -5 cents right now by signing it. But it's I don't know.
I'm here to decrease the value of your beautiful artwork.
But actual nice printouts of stuff, and I'm like, that's kind of. I was like, can I keep this? Because I need printouts of this stuff. Because I have never experienced that before, and it was kind of surreal and kind of I don't know, guys. I still feel like I'm,
the new kid on the block.
that, and just like anybody else that gets lucky to get to do the thing that they love the most, and it's like, I don't know, I'll always just be a fan at heart too. Like I went to that screening of the documentary I Know That Voice, which DiMaggio so kindly gave me like a few seconds in, and I was like watching it, and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. And then I'm like, okay, I was just on the screen, and then I just started watching it again, just going back as a fan, and I was like, I'll never not be a fan of these people, and of the genre.
Well, and I think that right in itself there is the sort of the definition and the crux of having a successful career and a happy life, because I think the goal is you want to do what you do that you love, and by the sounds of it, you are.
Absolutely.
And why not, you've got people that watch these shows that are equally invested or you've had some sort of an effect on their life or their kids or whatever. I mean, sure. I mean, shake some hands, kiss some babies, or shake some babies, kiss some hands.
Kiss some rings.
The other way first.
and the best thing about the Comic Cons and stuff like that is there's some crazy cosplay going on that just makes for some great people watching.
Absolutely. And if anything as well, it's a great networking event even for you, because there's going to be other VO talent there that you may not have even met yet.
Oh, I know. There's so many folks out there that I would love to work with and definitely be in the trenches with in situations like that. So I think maybe this year I might give it a shot. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you guys could be my convention agents or something.
Yeah, AmiVO Garnet, he's the king of the convention. So
we could do that.
Okay, so before we go, and you kind of led to this question: who or what is the on the bucket list that you want to do, or who you want to work with?
Well, definitely.
That you haven't to this point.
I would love to do more voices in feature films, because I feel like there's so much good stuff out there, and the quality that goes into it. And I'm looking at it as like an animator's point of view. It's kind of like, man, that's some good stuff. And I've worked on some amazing television productions. I will be doing a voice in that movie Book of Life, which is coming out, and I think that there's lots of artwork for it out online. But I saw some really cool like scenes the other day, because it had me come in and do some ancillary characters, and the movie just looks great, and I'm very happy for my friend Jorge. As far as anyone that I'd like to work with, I mean, I don't know. Like,
to share a booth with, like, even if it's one scene, you've got you're on one mic, in the studio door opens, in walks blank. What this is turning into the match game.
Match game.
So one of those moments for me actually was getting to. I did voices on a show called Dan Versus, and it was Hasbro's first cartoon that wasn't based off of a toy. They tried to venture into primetime animated series, and the two main characters were voiced by Curtis Armstrong, who is Booger
from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yes, Booger. He talked like this the whole time.
And the other guy was Dave Foley from Kids in the Hall.
Oh, that's so cool.
Nice.
And
the
third
circle of life.
Yeah, I was like in like the meat in a funny sandwich. I was like, so some days where Curtis wasn't there, I was reading in for Curtis, playing scenes with Dave Foley.
Nice.
And then days where Dave Foley wasn't there, I was reading his lines, playing scenes with Curtis Armstrong. So it's like,
yeah, you're already pretty much living your bucket list. So I think
I would like to actually work with you guys one day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that would be fun. It would be a completely low budget production.
That's exactly right.
Lots of CanCon. There's got to be a tax credit somewhere in there.
I say the four of us do a cartoon that is produced by Moses Snymer.
Excellent. I like that idea. Moses,
with
I think
with
we
funding
should
from Telefilm
do.
Canada.
Yes. I feel like the four of us with Gord Martineau and Deanie Becker.
Wow,
Yes,
and let's
that's right.
and we could even get the ghost of Brian Linehan too while we're at it.
Yes.
But that's, and you know what? And just to bring it all back into sort of like back in the old place, we'll make the location the Scarborough Town Center or Cedar Brae Mall, one or the other, just to get that same feel.
Now you're talking.
I have eaten 59-cent tacos at both locations.
Yes. Hey,
Taco Tuesday.
My uncle lived just off of Ellesmere and McCowan, and I mean Orange Julius. Scarborough Town Center was the only place that had an Orange Julius for miles.
Wow.
I used to work at Blockbuster Video on Markham and Lawrence, I think.
Oh wow, yeah, okay, yeah. So you're by the mall there.
We used to punch the Oreo ice cream cakes, like destroy the box, so we could write it off as damaged goods and eat them. I think I may have had a hand in Blockbuster closing down.
And there you go.
That's a whole other show right there.
I mean,
that's fantastic.
This is a show that Spike could have used.
Yes.
They could have used this.
The man
Eric
who killed
Bauza,
Blockbuster.
who, somebody who some might say is flying under the radar, not for long, I would say.
I don't think so.
And congratulations on all the success. You're an incredible guy to talk to.
And a lot of fun to talk to.
And we have a couch to sleep on when we get to LA.
Exactly.
And he doesn't think we'll take. He just said that thinking they'll never come down.
He doesn't
We're
think
coming.
It's gonna happen.
No, he knows.
We'll take you up on
I'm on the phone with the airline now, Garnet. What do you want?
No, he knows what Canadian voice actors make. So there's no chance. There's no chance we'll ever be able to afford that.
No, believe me, I still make the same wage. I am a Canadian voice actor still.
Yeah,
so.
you just have the nice green card or the visa, and you also have sunshine more than 6 months of the year. So
I haven't picked up a shovel in years.
Yeah, you suck at this point. No, Eric, thank you so much for joining us, and continued success, dude. And we will definitely be watching with arm hearts going. We know
Absolutely.
we know Eric making the arm heart right now.
Yes, exactly.
But congrats, dude, and thanks so much for spending this time with us. Awesome.
Yeah, no, we really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank
You're a lot
you.
of fun to talk to, Eric.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. And you guys take it easy, and let me know when it's up. I'll repost the shit out of this.
Oh, we will.
That
Sounds good.
That's one of those movie poster quotes. It was so good, I will post the shit out of it.
Yes.
So,
Podcast so good. It was reposted a bunch of times.
we will be back to wrap up this episode of the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast when we come back after this.
The 3 AmiVO's.
Warning.
We'll be right back.
Changing the voiceover industry one toque at a
We're
time.
gonna take a little break, but we'll be back in a while, so don't nobody go nowhere.
Here's another 3 AmiVO's iceberg tip.
Hey, AmiVO Garnet here, and this tip isn't revolutionary, nowhere close. It just kind of falls under good common sense. Do what you said you'd do. Simple, right? See, in the voiceover business, your pipes and talent may carry you far, but at the end of the day, you're only as good as your word. When you make a promise to a client, whether verbal or in an email, whether official or just kind of casual, make sure you follow through. The world is loaded with people who overpromise and underdeliver. But that doesn't grow a business or keep clients coming back. I guess I'm just saying that with so much talent out there to choose from, make sure you're one that a client can rely on. And in the spirit of following my own advice, AmiVO Mike, I'm sorry, I know I was supposed to have this to you a week ago and I won't let it happen again. Still besties?
And now, the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
Everyone ready?
Yeah.
By the way, welcome back to the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
I think I've got to say this. You know what? That was undoubtedly one of the best.
I take nothing away from our previous guests. We've had some amazing guests.
Well, a few. No. I'm just
Pat Sweeney. That's the only guy.
I'm kidding, ladies and gentlemen. I'm kidding.
No, he truly was.
We don't play favorites.
No,
we love
don't.
all our guests equally.
We do. Well,
Mommy and Daddy love you all.
That's not true. But yes.
No,
we do.
We do not give out participation ribbons here.
You know what?
You either win.
You know what?
If you're not first, you're last.
It's taking a very dark parental turn.
I'm telling you, during Canada Fitness. Do you remember Canada Fitness when you were a kid? Doing
I
Canada
hated Canada Fitness.
I was a chunky kid growing up.
Okay.
What's that like?
And
Did you talk like this a lot? Did you have to do the Canadian Fitness wrong?
No, but what happened was that what happened was that there was a couple years there where I didn't even get bronze. I got what was
You got the
called
participation badge.
Yes. It wasn't even a badge, Mike.
No,
it was a card.
It was a card. Yeah.
It was a card. It was
so
the most
embarrassing.
humiliating thing of my life. I'm sitting there. They're handing out the gold, the silver, the bronze, and there was also this thing called excellence, which was like above gold.
Yeah.
Okay, remember that was like red or something? And I was sitting there, and people were getting left. I was the only kid. I was the kid that got participation. That was it. I mean, how embarrassing is it to go up and here's your business card that basically says, "Thanks for coming out, you fat sack of crap."
Remember when this podcast was about voiceovers?
Yeah. Well, you know what? This is good.
Thanks, Eric Bauza, for anyway. Back to
Thank you. Yes. Well, I'm just telling you that
You felt excluded. That's how this all came
I
about.
felt excluded.
Wow.
Now who's excluded over this guy over here?
The endurance run of Canada Fitness, and I believe I received a participation 2 years in a row. But I always participated.
Get the hook.
All right.
Okay, so
Eric Bauza, what a fucking guest. He is amazing.
Although I did love the
he
fact
was.
that he gave the podcast some serious validation.
Absolutely.
That it's your show. I'm
That's
on
right.
your show. Like wow. That it's a legitimate show. Oh crap!
Marvin the Martian came down.
Now we need to up the production
and-
values, which can't get any better because
I don't
the
think they
production,
can.
the imaging is fantastic. Our imaging voice is tops.
Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
Sam Cooke.
So
Who will
now we're
be a
plugging-
guest.
Now we're plugging Sam Cooke. Oh
Yes,
wait,
we are.
Who will be a guest on a future podcast?
She will be.
Yeah, she will.
Podcast, whatever the hell it is.
Vodcast. Yes.
Vodcast. No, we have to. It's a vodcast.
VOdcast.
VOcast.
Just works that way.
The VOcast.
But lots of great stuff from Eric. The stuff he was so giving of his knowledge and of his time,
great.
and he's got a great bag
Like I
of
said,
voices.
Last show, real, genuine, authentic, and he's fantastic. I mean, he's a great. And he's fun too. He's fun.
Yeah.
He has fun
we
with it. You know
so
that.
have
You
to
know
go
the
out with
direction.
that
Have fun with
him
it.
when he comes up here. I mean,
yeah.
like that's-
And you know what? I see that a lot from interacting and seeing how a lot of these animation voice actors in general, are a fun-loving, gregarious bunch.
I think so.
But there seems to be this attitude with these with these animation voice actors, because I experienced the same thing with Kevin Michael Richardson, name dropping here. But he's another one that just seems genuinely happy to be where he is.
Yes. Yep.
And just so grateful. And you follow him on Twitter, and he's like following you right back.
Yeah.
And you send him a Facebook friend request, and he's like, sure, because he generally knows.
He gets it.
Genuinely knows that he wouldn't be there without the fans.
That's
and, he's just happy to return the love.
And because what we do is
That's
such
what
an,
Eric's like.
Because what we do is such an amazing job, and to be able to do
is,
it, and it's not even a job; it's playtime.
It is playtime.
And he's doing incredibly well. He's a guy from Scarborough. I can relate to
this
that.
is absolutely.
He's just down the highway and living the dream in LA. And not to take anything away from it, I mean, he works hard at what he does.
Absolutely.
It's not the easiest thing in the world, and and he's doing so well at it, and it was a lot of fun. So we had to do the two-parter.
He's the kind of guest that I could see us down the road having on again.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, he's one of those guys that we talked to him for forever. I mean, that's why we had to have this two-parter.
Yeah.
But I still feel like there's so much more.
He's got more
that you
stories
talk
and more
about.
to share.
More stories, more
The
insight.
Takai story was the capper. That
was fantastic.
That was it. Or Takei.
Takai. Takai sounds like.
Hello. That was brilliant. So thanks again to Eric Bauza, and please follow him on Twitter at Bauzilla. Just at Bauzilla. So Bauzilla.
That's correct.
Follow him. Lots of fun, and he'll follow you back. Apparently,
I'm going to follow him.
You stalker, you.
I am.
I'm gonna go down to LA right now. Well, we've got a couch. Apparently, we can crash.
Apparently, we
it.
have a
waiting for
couch.
us.
Hey,
Now,
man.
I don't know about you guys, but 3 of us on one couch might be a little tricky. But I'm willing to sacrifice it for the sake of going there.
Well, I've spent a weekend in a room with this guy. Well, actually, he's had to spend a weekend with me because the snoring thing.
Yeah.
So,
Big
which is
snorer.
not pretty.
I don't snore.
Oh, good.
I don't know what to do with that.
Well, he gets the bathtub because there's less echo. So thanks again to Eric Bauza. We have a lot of great guests coming up that it'll be a lot of fun to talk to, and we'll continue.
2014 is just starting.
I know, and hopefully we'll be able to throw some more
Right.
shows in.
No, it's almost like one of those promos, like from NBC back in the 80s. There's no stopping us now. Thursday nights. 2014 we're just getting started.
Well, if we're going to continue promoting stuff, let's promote the website, 3amivos.com. You can also email us at 3amivos@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at the number 3 Amivos.
Is that what it is? The number 3 AmiVO's?
Yeah.
Yeah,
See, I
we
got that
changed
right.
it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Branding.
Yeah, branding is good. Individually,
Yes, Dave McRae here.
DaveMcRae.ca, thevoiceman.com.
With two N's.
With 2 N's. Well, see, I always say that because I've had people
good to
actually.
know.
Well, it is.
No,
you
you
know.
have to.
I don't
Because traditionally the word man is not spelled with 2 N's.
Thank you, Garnet.
But Dave's so good, he needs 2 N's.
That's exactly
That's
why.
exactly what it is.
The N was so nice he used it twice.
So you must be creative. WilliamsVoiceovers.com. New website yet? No?
No.
Okay. I like being on the other end of this.
No, you're not changing the address, though.
No,
You're just,
no.
yeah,
It's just
that's
I want to
right, okay.
revamp the website. And the
Good for
website is still functional and looks great and
Yes.
works. It's just it's kind of cluttered.
Okay.
Okay.
So it will be streamlined.
Cluttered with
It
stadium
will
announcing
be
demos.
a new HGTV show. It's called Website Hoarders. Brian, you've got far too much stuff on your site.
What is this?
This is the keep pile, this is the sell pile, and this is the donate pile.
What is this
We have the cat skeleton pile.
stadium announcing demo that you have? I want to listen to it again and again and again.
And after such a fantastic interview, we have completely fallen off the rails, which is good.
I don't know about
Your
you
website,
guys.
Michael?
It's my website,
know about you guys,
mpvoiceovers.com.
it's the vodka here,
It's the vodka. mpvoiceovers.com, and yes, allthingsmike.ca still links to it. It's changing. No, it's not.
2014's just starting,
It's
folks.
just starting. So thank you for joining us for this episode of the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour podcast. To my left, AmiVO Dave McRae.
Oh, goodbye.
In front of me I love that. Can we just do an entire episode of just that? To my left, AmiVO Dave McRae. No, you can't do it. In front,
goodbye.
in front of me. In front of me, AmiVO Garnet Williams.
Oh, goodbye. Goodbye. It's a good time. Goodbye.
It's a schmengy reunion. I am AmiVO Mike Pongracz. Thank you so much for bearing with us at this point. We hope to see you and speak with you again soon. Join us on iTunes. Subscribe to the podcast. Until then, thank you so much. And a very hearty ole!
We are finished. We are over. It's over.
The AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour Vodcast has been brought to you by the 3 AmiVO's.
Show's over.
It was written, recorded, edited, and produced from deep within the Great White North by Dave McRae, Garnet Williams, and Mike Pongracz.
Are we going bye-bye?
For more AmiVO fun, questions, or comments, check us out online at 3amivos.com.